Chiate, chiate, yota.
Hello everyone and welcome to Victoria's Cantina. Today we're having a look at the Hasbro Star Wars The Black Series, number 17, Princess Leia Organa in Boushh disguise. 3 3/4 inch scale figure. Alright you guys, so as you can see from the packaging here, this is more of the same 3 3/4 inch Black Series packaging that we've been seeing since last year. Of course, now it's being replaced with the Walmart style Black Series 3 3/4 inch, which is quite a bit different. There's really not anything too special about this packaging. If you look at the back, there's not even a photo of the figure or the character. From a sculpting perspective, it's not a bad looking figure at all. In fact, it actually looks pretty good. Unfortunately, her arms do kind of flare out, just due to the way it's articulated and to the way that it's sculpted. Paint and coloration on her looks quite nice. Very simplistic, very clean. She has a soft goods little cloak there that's attached to her back. And she does come with a few accessories, mainly that are actually part of her costume. Give you a close-up here of her face. It looks good. It just doesn't look like Leia to me. This figure looks Japanese. Not that that's a bad thing at all, but, Leia obviously was not Japanese, so I don't know what the thinking was behind this. I mean, it's a good sculpt. It's very nicely painted for the most part. There are a few little blemishes like on the hair and, around the hairline. There's like a little black splotch on the tip of her nose. But other than that, it's painted pretty well. It just isn't painted or sculpted to look like Princess Leia from the film. It's very unusual. I have seen some of these in the stores where they're missing a lot of paint on top of the head, which, is pretty sad. But, I got this one from Amazon. Obviously, I couldn't see what I was going to be getting, and it's pretty good other than the little paint mismatches around the hairline and the dot on the nose. Other than that, it's really good, actually. I really like the deep red lips, so they're not accurate to the film. She kind of has like cat eyes, like for the makeup, which, also is not very accurate to the film at all. She's also very, very pale, very, very pale, which just isn't correct. Other than that, she does look good. I think the hair is also a little bit too dark. The costume itself looks really good, I think. It's very simple, but, it's still detailed enough, I would say. Pretty good sculpt work there. The outfit that she's wearing does appear to be very rigid. And, looking at the film, I suppose that it was soft goods cape. Here's a first for a Leia in Bounty Hunter disguise in the 3 3/4 inch scale. She has a bandolier that's a separately sculpted piece. And it looks like maybe it's just, attached around her. I'm not sure if I can get that off or not. The arms, pretty good. And the legs, very good. Again, very clean, but very good still. And she has black boots, which is actually a first for Leia in this outfit. I'm not so sure what's accurate, because all the other ones have, tan boots that basically match that color. In the way of articulation, Leia has a ball joint here at the head, and it looks like she's got some red paint under there or something. She has ball joints at both of her shoulders. She's got ball joints at both of her elbows. She has swivels at both of the wrists, swivel at the waist. She has swivels at both of her hips, ball joints at both of her knees, and then ball joints at both of her ankles. All in all, she is quite nicely articulated. I wouldn't really expect much from Leia in the Bounty Hunter outfit, but one thing I will say that I am pretty disappointed in is the fact that her plastic is very, very rubbery, probably more so than I've ever seen on any Star Wars 3 3/4 inch scale figure, and I'm really disappointed about that. Maybe IG-88 would be an exception, but this is very, very rubbery. It just kind of like bends. Like if you try and open her hand, like to get her accessory, and I'll show you in just a sec what I mean. It's just very, very rubbery. In the way of accessories, of course, Leia has to come with her helmet that she wore in the film. So, we are going to have that. And to get it on her head, it is a little bit of a tight fit, but you can get it on. And, it fits her very well. It's just a little bit too tight of a fit, but it's still a very nice looking helmet. Proportionately, it's a little bit large, and it also is very, very rubbery, but you know, it still looks quite good. It also comes with a backpack that has a little peg right there, and you simply put it into the hole that's right there, and it doesn't go in all that far, but it seems to be staying put pretty well. She comes with her staff type weapon that, of course, she had in the film, and it's actually not as rubbery as you might expect. It still kind of bends, but you know, it's not too bad really, and you know, very simply painted, but you know, it looks adequate. So now, from what I was saying about her hands being very rubbery, like her thumb right here, like if you try and get the weapon in, it just doesn't, like, it'll go in, but she doesn't hold it like that tightly because of how rubbery her fingers actually are. Like, it comes out pretty easily. So, you know, I guess if you have her holding it in the upright position, and you'll see here how hard it is to bend her elbows, despite the fact that they're ball jointed, she's just very, very rubbery, and it's very troublesome that this is the case with this figure. But when you get her to hold it well and you have her with the helmet on, she actually looks really good. One other accessory you might notice is not present, and it actually is present, but it's kind of different with this figure, is the thermal detonator. Instead of being a separate piece, they actually sculpted it as part of her hand. And initially I was not too happy about that, but you know, it's not too bad. I mean, if one thing's for certain, you're not going to lose it unless you lose the whole hand. But, you know, it works well. And, one thing I will say about that is that I'll go ahead and bring in the 2006 Princess Leia Bounty Hunter disguise right here. That one had a thermal detonator, but it wasn't sculpted into her hand. It was just a separate piece. And out of the hundreds of Star Wars action figures that I have, that's probably one of like 2, maybe 3 figures that I've had that have lost an accessory, and it happened to be the thermal detonator. So, you know, for something so small, I really don't mind them having sculpted into her hand. Yeah, it seems lazy, and you know, it kind of seems like it would have been nicer if they would have had a separate one, but I don't have much of a problem with it as a result. Now, looking at the two figures, you can certainly see they've come a long way in terms of sculpting and realism. I've always thought that the 2006 version was pretty good. Same as I thought that the 1996 Shadows of the Empire version was also a good figure. But, you know, this is definitely a very good update to this one. As you can see, this one does have an oversized helmet. She has a very rubbery staff that obviously bent over time. She doesn't have ball joints at either of her elbows. She has swivels instead. And this arm's kind of weird because, you know, it's kind of meant for her to be holding the staff like that. She does have the ball joints at the knees and no articulation at the ankles. But, you know, one thing that the new one has over that one with the knees is that they concealed the ball joints so you can't even see them. With this one, they did not do that. Even though the helmet is oversized on this one, it's still not a bad figure. The backpack is sculpted, you know, as part of her torso there, and you can see a ponytail here, which this one doesn't have a ponytail, it just has the hair tied up like in a bun. But if I go ahead and remove the helmet, give you a close-up of this one. Helmet comes off way easier on this one. You'll see it looks a little bit more like Leia. I mean, it's still not a perfect likeness by any means, but I think it looks slightly more like Leia than the new one does. And I also do think that this new 3 3/4 inch Leia looks quite a bit like the recent 6-inch Black Series Leia in the same outfit. Even the paintwork on the costumes are very, very similar, save for maybe the boots, which, you know, obviously are different colors, but still quite close in appearance, even though both of them have radically different heads that look nothing like Princess Leia. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so there you have it. This is the Hasbro Star Wars The Black Series, number 17, Princess Leia Organa in Boushh disguise, 3 3/4 inch scale figure. Overall, I'm pretty pleased with this figure. I think that it turned out quite nicely. From a sculpting perspective, it looks quite good. Yeah, it doesn't look anything like Leia, but, you know, it's an okay figure. If you have the helmet on it, definitely doesn't matter quite as much. Paint on it's pretty nice. A few minor imperfections on the head, but otherwise, you know, very nicely done. I think that she's very nicely articulated, though I am very disappointed with how rubbery this figure is. I think that's a huge problem, and, you know, something that I hope Hasbro corrects going forward with the Walmart exclusive Black Series line, you know, providing that that lasts for more than, you know, a few waves. But, you know, you are paying $13, you know, for this figure. That's what MSRP is. I have a very hard time paying $13 for a 3 3/4 inch Black Series figure. So I waited it out, and, you know, I was able to get it under $10 through Amazon with, you know, free Prime shipping. So in that regard, I think it's not a terrible deal. But for the price that they're asking, I really feel that the rubbery plastic, you know, is just a little bit ridiculous. Especially when you consider the fact that it does hinder her posability to a degree, because it just makes it very hard to move, you know, like her arms and her wrists, given how rubbery they are. Her accessories are quite nice. The staff is, you know, quite nice. Seems to be pretty sturdy. Backpack looks good. The helmet looks good, though it is a little bit of a tight fit, and I do worry that that might rub on her face over time, so I'm probably not going to, you know, remove it and put it back on very often if I can help it. And then the thermal detonator, I can certainly see where some people would have issue with it being sculpted into her hand. Personally, I don't have a problem with it, you know, because it is a piece that would be very easy to lose. So all in all, it is a good figure. It's not a great figure. It could have been better. It could have been less rubbery. It could have had a better likeness. But nonetheless, I do feel that it is a worthy upgrade over the 2006 Saga Collection version. But other than that, I would say see if you can get it under $10 because, you know, at that point, you know, it's not a bad deal. On a scale of 1 to 5 stars, I'm kind of torn between giving her 3 and 4 stars. I mean, I kind of want to give her 3 because, you know, the rubbery plastic and the likeness not being that great. But, you know, for what it is and for what I pay for it, I am pretty happy with it. So I'll go ahead and give her 4 stars. It's not an essential figure, but if you do like to see figures progress, you know, and improve, this is definitely an improvement over its predecessor. All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoyed this video, I do encourage you to like and subscribe. Let me know down in the comments what you think of this figure. Is she worth 4 stars? Is she worth getting as part of your, you know, 3 3/4 inch collection? Let me know what you think. I'd really like to know. Also, be sure to follow Victoria's Cantina on Twitter. There's a link down in the description. And as always, I want to thank you for watching Victoria's Cantina. Until next time, bye-bye.